Jumping over obstacles, still cool. Never losing character, still cool. Wait, let me check my temperature, still cool. You feel us, but we don't feel you. Can't you see I'm working? Leave a message. I don't know what you be expecting. Y'all been sleeping on.
For about 10 years now, Mike has been telling me about Dystany Spurlock. I think the first magazine article we saw her in was Motorcyclist, maybe? I remember looking at the first article, and in my head, she was older than me and had been racing a bike for decades. In fact, she's like 10 years my junior, had at that point only been racing a couple years, and I hadn't even owned my first bike yet. With goals of racing in the NHRA, it's only a matter of time before we see her there. She's a skilled rider, marketer, and an easy sell for any sponsor. Honestly, sponsors are crazy if they pass on the opportunity to be associated with her. She's personable, has great advice, and is relatable. According to her, I need to backdate my clutch, which shall be added to my list of things to complete. We got to meet and talk with her at the Still I Race booth at this year's SEMA show, followed by seeing her on the Diversity in Motorsport panel. What a privilege.
I think it's in the camera. I am here with the Dystany Spurlock, and she's giving me some tips on how I can launch my bike and go faster.
That's right.
So, do you mind repeating yourself? Tell me what I need to do.
So basically, I was just letting her know to just go at your own pace. You know, you're gonna have a lot of people that's in your ear telling you do this, do that, but go at your own pace, listen to the bike, feel the bike, and just go at your own pace. Like, you got this, literally. Like,
yeah.
Trust me. You got this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was telling Dystany that Mike has been showing me her in like magazine articles, and she wrote for the magazine. I just found that out for Sport Bike magazine back in 2011, 2012.
Yes, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
That was the GSXR 1002, right?
No, that's when I had my BMW.
That was the BMW.
Yeah.
I told him that. He's like, no. Okay. All right. So it was the BMW.
Yes.
So, but I've heard her name forever. And the pink. Love the pink. And so it's just putting a face with a name now. I've seen your face.
Yeah, but in person.
That's right. Yes. That's right. So she's a champion. Almost. We're getting there. Sorry.
You're good. Speaking into existence. It's okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there for you.
That's it.
But so in 2 weeks?
Yes, in 2 weeks in Valdosta, Georgia at the Man Cup Series.
Yes. Man Cup.
Man.
That's what it's going to be.
That's it. Yes, and that'll be in the Hollywood Drag Racing Pro Ultra 460 class.
Oh, yes. I am so excited. I can't wait to see this.
Thank you.
So, Dystany, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for your time.
For sure.
Again.
See you guys later.
Bye.
In order for her daughter's activities, her mother purchased her 2006 Suzuki Gixxer 750. 3 months later, she broke the record on a Brock's BMW Performance Center bike by traveling the quarter mile in 8.46 seconds at 163 miles per hour. Dystany is also the fastest woman on the BMW S1000 RR in Caraco with a time of 8.57 seconds. And in 2018, she was inducted into the Hopkins BMW Museum. In 2019, she made history by becoming the first woman to win a 460 index final at the South Georgia Motorsports Park, and has made several final round appearances since then. Dystany is currently the points leader in her class in the Manufacturers Cup Racing Series. And if she wins in 2 weeks or next weekend, she will be the first woman, period, to win a championship in the Motorcycle Drag Racing Series. Dystany makes her own rules, sets her own goals, and at the young age, serves as a role model for women of all ages. As she pushes to accomplish her dream of racing professionally in the NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle class, her fan base continues to build, as does her enthusiasm for life, beyond and behind the driver's seat. Everybody, Dystany Spurlock. So I wanted to have this conversation today to talk about diversity in motorsports. As we know, motorsports as an industry, or the automotive industry, is kind of the final frontier when it comes to race. But all of these individuals on these panels have had success in these areas despite all the obstacles and hurdles that they had to overcome. So I wanted them to talk about their stories and give everybody here a better picture about their steps to success. So representation is super important. So I'd like to ask you guys, and I'll start with Dystany. What or who inspired you to get into motorsports?
Okay, so I would say my dad. So when I went to the drag strip at 12 years old, I really didn't know anything. Okay, so back up. My neighbors, which were good friends of my mother's and dad's growing up, his son had a junior dragster, and I was super fascinated with that. Like, I was like, Mom, Dad, can you give me a junior? Yeah, that didn't happen. But then when I turned 12 and I went to the drag strip, and I was like, wait, they drag race motorcycles? Because that was something I was familiar with, because I rode on the back with my parents. So I was like, wait, we can actually race these things and like do it legally? So I would say my goddad's the one who inspired me to get into drag racing, because motorcycle drag racing, because I didn't know anything about it. And then once I got into it, I look up to a lot of people, like your NHRA people, like Antron Brown. He used to race pro style motorcycles. Now he's into dragsters. But then you have your Ricky Gadsons and so many people. I could just keep them. But once I got into it, it was a lot of individuals that I looked up to, and they paved the way for me.
Dystany, you're, have a very unique experience of being a woman, right? So not only is there other barriers, but talk about, your experience and, how you've been able to overcome that. We know, they call motorsports kind of the last locker room. So, what's your experience been like?
So when I first started drag racing, I just knew I just wanted to race. Like, I didn't know that it can become a business, right? So when I first started going to the drag strip, I was going to a lot of test and tune days and, just getting practice time. So then once I started seeing NHRA and how it can be on a bigger platform, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to like make that happen? And I realized there's not a lot of big sponsorships on the level that I was racing in, such as the XD8. Well, back then it was the Man Cup series. And they're like, if you want to get sponsorships, you gotta go NHRA Pro Stock. I'm like, no, I don't. People are like, you can't make a living off of drag racing. I said, okay, watch me. So then I started to learn the business, because someone told me a long time ago, learn the business before you get in the business. So I started doing all the research as possible. But it was kind of tough for me because I had just started, and when I was approaching these different sponsors, they're like, well, what have you accomplished? I'm like, well, I'm just getting started, so nothing yet, but I know that I can, So I realized I just had to do the groundwork, whether that was study my craft, study the other racers, study the business, like what needs to be brought to the table, what can be brought to the table, what can change. And so it was hard because I'm in a male-dominated field, and at the time I was a little young. I was like, 17, 16. So I was still wet behind the ears. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know. But as I kept going, I learned a lot. I learned how to speak. I learned how to market myself. I learned how to, be good on and off the track. So I'm not gonna say it was difficult because I didn't know it, but once I learned it, it was easy. And like everybody said, the hardest thing in it is just locking in these sponsorships. That's it. The racing part is easy, but it's the behind the scenes part that's hard, but we'll get it.
That's awesome. Dystany, how important is it to manage your brand and just be conscious of how you represent yourself, especially, with girls and how you inspire? Talk a little bit about that.
First and foremost, that's my whole focus, making sure I am presentable at everything, at the racetrack, off the racetrack, on social media, whatever it is, because I know that a lot of kids, boys, girls, even adults, look up to me. So I want to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward with everything that I'm doing. I never want to, you know, put the wrong image out there. And my biggest thing is getting myself out there to show people that there is something else to do out here in this world other than, you know, your basic football or track and stuff like that. A lot of people, kids, don't even know about motorsports at all. So I like to go back to my schools, my middle schools and high schools, and showing them on the career days, like bringing my motorcycle up there. I also drive tractor trailers, you know, bringing the truck up there, showing them that, hey, this girl is doing this and I can do it too. So at the end of the day, I just want to be the best. I don't like to say role model because it's so much more than that. I don't want to say influencer, but being that best example for men, women, boys, girls, and everything I do. Point blank period. That's why I make sure I'm speaking correctly, make sure I'm dressing correctly, you know, and learning the business so that way I can teach it to others.
You all have been super successful in your space. What do you attribute the grind of keeping your head down, doing the work, and being successful against all odds? What do you contribute that to, Dystany?
No, he hit it right in the head. God first and foremost, seriously. And like you said, outside of God, like you have to have a team. Because trust me, I've been out here for a long time, and there's some times where I've tried to do things by myself, trying to do everything, and it's absolutely impossible. Like you have to let go of the reins and find those people to help you, but you also have to make sure they're the right people. Being in motorsports is kind of slim pickings to find people that understand the need. You can have a corporate America person that can do the job for marketing, but if they don't understand how to market in motorsports, it's not gonna work. So yeah, finding a good team, that's it. And like you said, another thing, like everything he says is spot on. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. Like you can't afford to have, you're in qualifying number 2 and then something happens. You can't afford for somebody in your pit crew to get mad at you or you get mad at them because something happened. It's okay, like pick the milk up and keep it moving. You got 2 more sessions to go out there and go get it. Like anything can happen. So.
Big thing you just spoke about is networking, right? Getting together, finding the right people, because in any industry, any color, and strength is in numbers, right? Having the team is like a bike team, right? Everybody has their part to play in the bigger picture, which grows success. But if there's one thing that you can tell, and I'll start with Sage and we'll go down the line, if there's one thing that you can tell somebody, one word of advice to help them grow in this industry, what would you tell them? Dystany?
And I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help, because for a long time I got in my own way because I was afraid to ask for help. And that can hinder you. That can put you back a month, a year, years, you just never know. So don't be afraid to ask for help and remember who you are. Like, know your ability, know that you can do it. You fail one time, it's okay, get back up. And don't listen to what people tell you that you can't do. Because so many people told me a lot of stuff, like you can't do this, you can't do that, whatever. I know where I want to be, I know where I want to go, and go for it.
So I have the little corner of our garage for my little bike, and I decorated it with my signed Dystany Spurlock poster. Yep.
Guess you blooming like, so what's the difference, right? We moving like, and every time I hit the dirt, you keep me blooming right. Who cares if they don't see your worth? Long as you're cool with life, long as you cool with life, long as you blooming like. They say flowers need potent shit, so I'm just gonna go for it. Hit the wall and got over it. Get my all till it's over with. Your phony shit don't exist. I sell till it's overages. I'm scoring with no assists.